Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're making old-fashioned pumpkin bread. Now this is a really basic recipe, and this is probably the first seasonal pumpkin recipe other than pumpkin pie that I ever ate in my life. I mean, of course pumpkin pie goes way back, but my mother-in-law used to make this every year, and she would make it all the way from Thanksgiving until Christmas time, and she gave it away as gifts. This was part of the Christmas bonus. If you worked for her, you got pumpkin bread. So anyway, how we're starting it is I have 2 cups of just regular sugar here in my mixing bowl. And I'm going to add a stick and a half of room temperature butter to that. And we're going to get that started, and then we're going to go over our other ingredients. Because you want to kind of mix that together before you put anything else in it. Okay, I've got a can of 100% pumpkin, and this is just a 16-ounce can, or 15-ounce can. It used to be a 16-ounce can, now it's a 15-ounce can. And I have 3 medium eggs. If you have large eggs, you could use 2. The eggs are kind of important in the way the texture comes out and the texture that my family likes. So I did the 3 eggs instead of 2. And I have a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of cloves, and a teaspoon of nutmeg. You could also use a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, or maybe a little bit more. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. You can use self-rising flour. So if you were using self-rising flour and pumpkin pie spice, you can cut these 7 ingredients down to 2. And then you only have the eggs and the pumpkin and the sugar and the butter. So you can make it simpler if you want to. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dump my salt and my baking powder and my baking soda and my spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. I forgot what I had in there. Into my flour. And if you use, the baking powder, baking soda, salt, do all-purpose, not self-rising. And if you have self-rising, leave those out. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Okay, this looks pretty good. So now I'm going to add my eggs in here, and I'm going to mix my eggs into my sugar and my butter. Now, if you need this dairy-free, you could do, like, that's 3/4 of a cup of butter. You could do like half a cup of oil, or you could use vegetable shortening in it if you needed it dairy-free and you couldn't use the butter. And there's also some plant-based butters, I think. And you can use margarine because that's dairy-free. But anyway, we're going to mix this up, and we want to mix this a couple of minutes until it's really creamy. Now, I said this is a really basic recipe. This is a really basic recipe, but this is how my family likes it, and that's because that's the way that my mother-in-law made it. This is going to make 2 regular size 4x8 loaves. You could bake it in, she used to, after she started giving it away for Christmas bonuses, I'm kind of aggravating my mother-in-law a little bit in this, so y'all bear with me, but we love each other. But after she started making it for Christmas bonuses, it was really because she was giving it away to so many people. She started baking it in the mini loaf pans, which did not make my family happy because they liked a big loaf and they liked having a lot of it. But I think she said a batch would do 10 mini loaves. So like for each big loaf, you can make 5 mini loaves. You can bake this in muffin pans. It'll make close to 2 dozen muffins if it doesn't make 2 dozen muffins. You can add nuts in it if you want some chopped pecans. I love chopped pecans in it, but she didn't put pecans in it, partly because of the cost and partly because everybody liked it sit plain. I mean, everybody just likes it plain. You can do a crumb topping on it, and I'll link videos for a simple crumb topping that you can put on this. And you can also put a cream cheese filling in it, and I'll link a video for a cream cheese filling. If you want to do the cream cheese filling, you just put half your batter in the pan, and then you put the cream cheese, and then you put the rest of your batter, or you can put the cream cheese on top and then like swirl it. But if you want to do that, you can certainly do that. This is just the basic bread that we're baking today. Okay, Now this is really creamy. It almost looks like frosting or something. And now I'm just going to add my pumpkin to it. And you don't want pumpkin pie filling. You want 100% pumpkin. The pie filling will not work in this. You want to turn your oven on and get it preheating about 325. We want a slightly cooler than normal oven, because this is going to have to bake a little over an hour. You're going to bake this 65 to 75 minutes to get it done in the regular loaf pans. Now, of course, if you put it in muffins, that would cut it down to 30-35 minutes. In the small loaf pans also, it would be much quicker baking time, which may have had something to do with why, when she was giving away a lot of it, my mother-in-law made it in small batches. But anyways, preheat that oven to about 325. If your oven runs real hot, you might even want to go a little bit cooler than that. I do want to scrape the sides of my bowl and stuff at least once while I'm doing this, because I haven't yet at all. I get a lot of questions about what kind of mixer I'm using. This is a Hamilton Beach stand mixer, and I have had it for over 10 years. It was a Christmas gift. It's very durable, it's quiet, and it does just a great job. I do have a KitchenAid mixer that I got for Christmas this past year, and I haven't even used it yet. I was going to pass this one on to Alex and move my KitchenAid in here because, you know, it was a gift and she doesn't have a stand mixer. But we're going to be trying that one out soon and kind of comparing this to the KitchenAid. But this is a very nice mixer and I really do like it. And I know folks are already shopping for Christmas, so I will link that in this video so you can find it. Okay, now you can see we had that super creamy texture and it looked almost like frosting when we did the butter and the sugar and the eggs. Now it kind of looks like it's got cheese curds in it or something. And that's okay, that's how it's supposed to look. And next, we're going to add our flour mixture. Now, you can sift this with an old-fashioned sifter. You can just dump it in there. You do want to kind of mix your spices and stuff in it a little bit. And you can hold your leavening until the very end if you want to. And I am going to, instead of getting out a sifter, I'm going to use just one of these little screen strainers, because it just kind of takes the lumps out. It does put some air in it if you sift it, and it makes your bread lighter. But this keeps you from having any lumps of spices or anything in your bread. And you don't have to necessarily do this. It's just, this is kind of one of those special occasion treats. So I'm kind of trying to make it as good as I possibly can. And you do want to get that last little bit out of there, because if you look on top, you can see the last little bit was more spices than it was flour, and you don't want to lose your spices. All right, and now we're just going to mix this up. Now, while your flour is mixing in there, if you haven't already, get your loaf pans ready, or your muffin tins, or whatever you're going to bake this in. And you can, if you have a good non-stick pan, you can get away with just spraying it with some cooking spray. Your glass pan, though, you're probably going to want to grease it and then put a little flour in it. And that's what I did here. I just wiped some butter in, and then I put some flour in it and shook it all around and beat it out. And I did do a video at one time showing how to actually grease and flour a pan, because I know a lot of younger folks don't. If that's something that you all need to see, leave some comments and we'll demonstrate how to grease and flour cake pans, bread pans, whatever. Okay, I'm going to scrape this just one more time because I do have some flour not mixed in there. And then give it just another little mix, and we will put it in the pans and put it in the oven. And I have some that should be ready to pull out of the oven so we can see what it looks like right now. And Alex doesn't have to edit an hour and a half of video footage. Okay. Now all you want to do is just divide this up between your 2 loaf pans. And you can bake it in any kind of pan, metal pans, glass pans, as long as it's a loaf pan or a muffin pan or a mini muffin pan. You could even put this in a single 9 by 13 cake pan if you wanted to. And especially if you were going to do like a cream cheese filling and a crumb topping on it and turn it into a crumb cake. Take this batter and dollop some cream cheese filling in it and sprinkle it with some crumb topping, and you would have an incredible pumpkin crumb cake. Might be something to consider for breakfast over the holidays, maybe for the day after Thanksgiving when you're going out to get a Christmas tree or do some shopping or whatever. I just gave myself an idea. All right, now that's kind of all there is to it. It is going to be thick. You're going to have to kind of spread it out in your pan a little bit and even it out just a little bit. And you can leave some texture in there. That's just going to give your baked loaves some texture. So kind of like that. And it doesn't like fill the pans up. So if you're doing muffins, you know, you want to just fill the muffin pans up half full, maybe a little bit more than half full. And it's going to rise up and finish filling them. 325 degrees. Anywhere from 60 to 75 minutes, you're going to be able to put a toothpick or cake tester in the center and it's going to come out clean when it's done. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's done. Oh my goodness. It does rise up, like I said, I mean, you know, about doubles. And that's what you're looking for, about doubles. It's going to be brown on the top. It will bounce back. Your cake tester will come out clean. You want to leave this in the pan for about 10 minutes before you try to get it out. Cool it on a rack. You can freeze it for like 3 months if you wanted to make it ahead of time and give it away at Christmas. When it's fresh and hot, it has a really nice crispy crust on it. As it sits, the crust will get more moist. We used to eat it cold out of the refrigerator. We would store it in the refrigerator wrapped up airtight and then take it out and slice it, and we liked it cold, but it makes absolutely wonderful toast. You can toast it and just put a little butter on it, put a little apple butter on it. Oh, what a flavor that is. But, you know, hot like this, 10 minutes out of the pan, slice it, little butter, it is absolutely delicious. Or store it in the refrigerator. I would say it'll store in the refrigerator probably for 2 weeks or so. Here is a tip. The big thing that causes your home baked goods to get moldy is stuff on your hands. So if you take it out and slice it and you make toast, you know, if you're storing it in the fridge or just wrapped up on the countertop, it will keep wrapped up on the countertop for at least a week. But in the fridge, it'll last about twice as long. It's shelf stable. You don't have to refrigerate it. You can ship it if you want to make some and send it to folks for Christmas or whatever. You can wrap it up airtight and put it in a box and ship it. It will ship. This is a good one to add to your holiday list if you're doing a home bakery and you're selling baked goods between Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. This is a really good one because it's one that not many folks make anymore for some reason. They don't make the basic pumpkin bread. And a lot of us, like I said, it was pumpkin bread and pumpkin pie. That was before the pumpkin spice craze even started. We did pumpkin bread and pumpkin pie. So this is a really good one to add to your list of home baked goods. Other than the wrapping it up tight, washing your hands before you cut it, but that's with any kind of fresh baked goodies. Everything, cakes, cookies, bread, all your homemade bread, and it'll make it last twice as long. It won't get moldy nearly as fast. If you want to keep it longer, put it in the fridge. If you're going to be eating it quick, you can store it on the countertop. Leftover toasted with butter, wonderful. Leftover cold out of the refrigerator, wonderful. You don't even have to put butter on it. Just eat it like a piece of cake. You could also add some cream cheese frosting to the top of this. Just drizzle a little on it if you want it prettier, if you were going to serve it for breakfast or something, or maybe take it to Sunday school to share. Or do just a sugar glaze, you know, powdered sugar and milk and a little vanilla, and you can drizzle a glaze over it that way too. And it's good just however. Perfectly plain is perfectly fine with this pumpkin bread. Before we leave, speaking of perfectly plain, I want to leave you with Ecclesiastes 5:12. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat a little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. This is one of those verses that everybody believes Solomon wrote. He wrote Ecclesiastes, and he is described as the wisest, most wealthy king to ever live. And this might be one of those examples of being careful what you wish for. I mean, a lot of us who work just wish that we could be rich for a little while so that we didn't have to worry about the things of daily life. And what this verse tells us, that while the rich man may not be worried about the price of gas or the price of food, he's worried about his abundance. He's worried about caring for all that he has. So just because somebody may appear to be better off than you does not necessarily mean that they are happy or they are more content than you are. Rather than praying for riches and wealth, maybe pray for peace and contentment, because those are the gifts of the Lord, and those are the things that we need to truly be happy. It's not physical stuff. It's not stuff that we have to worry so much about we can't go to sleep. So be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you pray for. And ask God for peace and contentment, because peace and contentment and sweet sleep is far more valuable than any possession we can have on earth. Let's see if we can get this out of here. It hadn't quite been 10 minutes, but I'd be willing to bet it'll pop out. Oh yeah. And like I said, it just about doubles in size. It's not going to get huge and rise up real big and high. You don't want to leave it in the pans too long though, because you don't want it to get soggy. You want it to have that crisp crust on it, even though the crust is going to soften up once it cools. But right now it's got a nice crisp crust, and it would be really, really good with butter on it while it's hot. We'll see. It may be too hot still to even slice. I'm going to try kind of a wide one here. Oh yeah. There we go. You can see it's nice and rich and moist and soft. Not I mean, even hot, it didn't crumble everywhere. So give this basic recipe a try. Dress it up if you want to. You know, cream cheese filling, nuts, crumb topping, whatever. It's good just like it is. Frosted, glazed, any way you want it. This is the recipe to start with. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Try a whole lot of our recipes and share them with your friends. And I want to thank you so very, very much for joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen. We are so grateful that you are a part of our family and that you are a part of this wonderful journey that we are on. Until next time, remember to put God first.